You can select any formula cell or any cell referenced by a formula cell, and then trace arrows that point to either the precedent or dependent cells from the selected cell. When you do this, Excel draws blue arrows either from the selected cell to its dependent cells, or from the selected cell back to its precedent cells, depending on which button you choose from the buttons available in the Formula Auditing button group on the Formulas tab within the ribbon. If the precedent or dependent cells are on another worksheet, then a black arrow that points to a worksheet icon will be displayed versus displaying a blue arrow. You can double-click on the black arrow to view the Go To dialog box, which should point to the worksheet reference. You can then click on the reference and then click OK to jump to the referenced cell in the other worksheet. To view the precedent cells from a selected formula cell, first select the formula cell. Next, click the Trace Precedents button in the Formula Auditing button group on the Formulas tab in the ribbon. This will cause Excel to trace arrows back to the precedent cells that are referenced by the formula in the selected cell. In some cases, these cells may also be formulas. In that case, you can continue to click the Trace Precedents button to view multiple levels of precedent cells. In this way, you can work backward to discover which cells are referenced by the formula to perform its calculations. This is handy for determining which cells may be causing errors or inaccuracies in your worksheet formula calculations. Tracing dependent cells is the same procedure in reverse. You simply click on a cell from which you want to trace the dependent cells, and then click the Trace Dependents button in the Formula Auditing button group on the Formulas tab in the ribbon. Excel will draw arrows to any cells that need the value within the selected cell to function. You can click the Trace Dependents button as many times as needed to trace multiple levels of dependency from the selected cell if necessary. To remove all of the auditing arrows that Excel draws in a worksheet, first select the worksheet from which you want to remove the auditing arrows. Next, click the Remove Arrows button in the Formula Auditing button group on the Formulas tab in the ribbon. This will remove all arrows from the selected worksheet. It is important to note that you must clear the traced arrows in each individual worksheet separately. If you only wish to remove the last level of precedent or dependent arrows that were drawn in a worksheet, you can click the drop-down button to the right of the Remove Arrows button, and then select either the Remove Precedent Arrows or Remove Dependent Arrows command from the button's drop-down menu to remove the last level of precedent or dependent arrows that were traced.